All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So we are gonna take another look at TUP. Oh my goodness! All right, I am excited to put some of my money in a nice little Tupperware somewhere. No, I'm kidding. But my goodness, it's been wild. And if you watch my last video, I basically said if this thing can break the 100, it could go wild. And in 2 days, it did nothing less than go wild. So I really hope that you caught this for sure. All right. And the crazy thing is, look, Jay asked me it, and I always say the best thing for me is short-term analysis. I'm not the best at long-term. I'm really not, right? But man, the one thing I said was if lines break, the next one up is a really big gap. And this line broke, we went here. Break this line, we go there. Break this line, we go. You know what I mean? Like there's just crazy step ups in this one. All right. After that, look, we're going to talk about MVIS. And MVIS, again, there's obviously not a lot of good things happening, all right? And you know I'm here to give you that non-biased, just honest opinion, right? But the one thing I'll say as a positive, and I've said it before, is the drop on this stock isn't going down as hard as, like, honestly, I think it should. You know what I mean? In a lot of ways, that does show some strength in its own little way, right? So I'll talk about that and everything else shortly. But before we go any further, what are we going to do today? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to the channel, share this video on the internet, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do really does help me out with these YouTube algorithms, and actually sharing the video does the best thing because I'm not really that good at it. But hey, just being here in your time, super appreciated. All right, so let's get into it. I'll be honest, I feel like my volume indicator is like a little too big. I'm gonna lower this. I'm gonna lower that. Oh man, now I'm getting like super anal. I should have done this before the video. All right, I'm not gonna make. Okay, sorry. So let's talk about TUP. All right, and again, the last time I made this video, it was all about the 100 moving average. All right, and I mean, just look at it. A little bit above the moving average is nothing but gap city, right? I literally drew my line, and you can see that's actually where it opened today, right? So that really was the moral of the story on the last video, because again, break this line, basically gap to here, break this line, gap to here, break this line, and I mean it's a gap to here, then break it, right? Like there are big chunks of movement as things happen, and we're seeing it, right? Like this is, I remember there was a comment where someone asked me, hey, why am I so confident in like filling the gaps? This should be a really good example of it, all right? Because again, there's no resistance here. There's nothing but nothing. And that's what makes it so easy to make a really big candle and then make another really big candle. You know what I mean? So again, get like red, green. Like I say these things and I know they sound funny, but like they're real, okay? And look, there's a lot happening here. First off, we are knocking on the last moving average, okay? That's really big, and obviously you see, I mean, we wicked well above it, right? So crazy, just crazy day, all right? MACD is just insane divergence. All right, what does divergence mean? Fancy word for going apart. And these two lines are going apart. Green wants to keep going up, and then red is well behind it. You know what I mean? And slope keeps going. Like, that's real nice. The crazy thing here is volume actually looks really good. Like, between these two and between these two, there's definitely like, this is a crazy chart. Look, 87 is a very high RSI, all right? And the real issue is we're so far from the next moving average down. A fall down could be pretty scary. What are we doing after hours? I saw it going up. All right, it's kind of stable, actually. That's not bad. But, you know, the worry becomes you have no real support lines to catch you if it falls. The other thing, the other thing though is, look, I mean, volume, like I said, is just going crazy. You know what I mean? So maybe we come low to like, but that's also a really big fall. Going from 3 down to basically 240, you're giving up 20%, right? 30 is 60, minus 60 from that, and you're at that 240 number, right? So maybe this could be a little bit of a support, that 260 number, right? Basically 50% candle. What's the top of you? 250. You know, again, that's the issue right now that we're seeing, is simply not just the moving averages aren't close enough to catch it, but the other reality simply is we're in the middle of the gap. All right, we're on the hair of the 200. If this breaks the 200, it's gone, right? So watch this in the morning, and again, just completely zooming out, let me just even go to the weekly, completely zoom. We have never seen this kind of volume on TUP. All right, like this is very, very new, very, very crazy. The one thing to call out is just look at what the MACD does during, like I said, the COVID run, right? So we're still well below that on the weekly, and truth be told, the weekly is actually relatively still healthy. All right, how high have we gotten on the, like we've been in the 80s, and you can actually see it. We've been here, like 80s is actually a relatively familiar place for this on the weekly. So man, that's I don't know if like what are you, man, maybe 575. Obviously that says 585, and I'm just kind of going down a little bit. Now I'm kind of coming here. What are you? 535. Like there's some interesting things that can happen here. Again, the really big thing I have to at least caution is if there's a bad, because like look, let's talk about this bad day. And again, it necessarily wasn't a bad day, especially if you look over the 5 days, right? But this, like the gap from here to here, it would have been really bad down if this blue line wasn't here, if this 100 moving average wasn't here. The 100 caught this day, and that's what let us rebound and go, right? So we don't have that. It's not like we're hopeful, you know. Even a doji tomorrow right here could be an interesting thing, right? And again, you're gonna have to evaluate what you want to do, but we're not at a place where we can come let the 200 catch us and go. We're actually under, and that was my fear as we come down. Again, this 8 still going up pretty parabolically, right? So roughly speaking, tomorrow it might be right here. You know, maybe by Friday it'll be right here, and hey, maybe by then that's where it gets caught, right? So just kind of watch the moving averages, but man, there's some crazy things happening here, to say the least, right? And again, as lines break, pretty big moves can happen. So hey, hopefully you've made some money. And again, you know, I'm a little more on the conservative side, right? Like bank your profits. All right. Like there were some chats going on with a couple of us, and we were kind of talking about making some sells around that like 250 number. Okay. 2 things. Number 1, I did not sell the farm at 250. I still had shares. Number 2, am I really sad that I sold them? No, not really, honestly, because 50 cents is not, and again, if it goes up tomorrow, am I going to be sad? No, because I have the ability to look at the chart and in the morning make the right decision to go back in or not, right? So again, it's less about feeling bad that I sold early, but no, I still held on. I'm still really happy that this hit the 3 number. I'd still love it for just, you get what I'm saying. I can't even get the words out, right? So TUP, beautiful, all right? MVIS, not so much, okay? And look, you know, I am here to give you an unbiased view. I know a lot of people here are long and strong, and you should know by now, if you're watching, might be like, I am not here to make you fear anything and like sell this and that. Like, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money, right? Like, I'm just giving you a good couple opinions, right? And a few of my opinions have happened so far, right? One of the early things we were talking about was what was going to happen with this 50 moving average. We really wanted to bounce up, and more than that, break the 20, right? Because again, good things happen over the 8 and the 20. We can see it here over them both, and beautiful run. We're now in the scary process of trading under the 8 and the 20, right? And this was a really, this was a sad day right here, because when we lost this cluster, we've quickly gone down almost 25% since then, right? Because again, I always say it, when clusters happen, you either break up violently or go down violently. And it's weird because honestly, the go down isn't as violent as I would have expected. Like, this should have really come down in like a 3-day candle. Like, after this was a doji, after the doji was the truth that also lost this. I'm really surprised we didn't see a big red candle down, okay? And again, like I said in the beginning of the video, I think in some ways that shows strength because again, we're literally in a green, 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 red, 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 red. Like, I'm actually very surprised we haven't come down here just yet. And one of the things I talked about is slowly starting to happen, right? So again, it's hard to lose two moving averages when they're stacked together. What has now happened is these are slowly breaking apart, and it might be a thing where now it's just attack this one first and then attack this one second versus both of these are one big wall that becomes really hard. Okay, so honestly, I think more things are still inclined to say we're coming down to the 200. I don't know if this 135 is going to hold well, and I think a lot of my reasoning is down here. MACD is actually still diverging. Again, it's not a hardcore divergence. What's divergence? Again, fancy word for the two lines are going away. I'm not seeing the green line trying to curve back up or get over it. I'm actually seeing it kind of going away, right? I'm also seeing an RSI that still has plenty of room to go down and then just really, really bad volume. I think the really, really bad volume is what's more than anything scaring me, you know, because again, if you go in the knowledge center, volume is my number 2 golden rule of trading. Like, nothing can happen when there's no volume. Amazingly beautiful things can happen when there's good volume, right? But the positive I'll say, generally this happens too. If you get big buy spikes in volume, you tend to see the big sell spikes in volume. And again, I'm just kind of surprised it hasn't happened. I do believe if we lose this 200 moving average, that will happen. I think really, really bad things will happen at like 305. I think once we lose, what's this right here, that like, this, yeah, 310. I think 305 is the easy answer. 307, in all honesty, is what. If we hit 307, I think it will be a pretty quick fall to 250. All right, and again, look, there's a bunch of ways you can do. You can consider averaging up, you know, stuff like that, right? But yeah. It's all about those two holding on the daily. All right, let's take a look at the weekly. Okay. Again, really important numbers right here. What are you at? 330. All right, the last moving average on the weekly is 330. So again, if we lose 330, which is this, I would start getting really scared. 305, that's a scary number. That's for sure a scary number. Normally I give my money line. I feel like 307 is my death line here. I would be really worried if that hit. Okay, so just watch this. The one thing I'll say on the weekly, all right, again, these two lines should be hard to break. Hopefully we hit these and maybe next week we can make a nice little bounce back up and kind of recover some of this. All 5 moving averages are right here. You know what I mean? So maybe we'll do a little horizontal trading for a minute. I don't know. But look, it's all about this 508 number. That's the 200 moving average on the weekly. Yeah, obviously the big number here is 450, basically 445. That's the last moving average here. But honestly, I think I would lean more here. I think 508 has to break for me to really love MVIS. And really believe the run's gonna go. Hey, I got a general question. Are there earnings coming up soon? It's been a few months, right? Like May, if I'm not mistaken, was around the time when the earnings came out for this bad boy, right? So it's roughly been 3 months. So if you know a date, let me know. Obviously, nothing resets or destroys these moving averages like earning. Let me just real quick show you a bad example. All right, Snap was super bullish, bad earnings. You know what I mean? Obviously there was a little bit of like a hey, but even this is still relatively bullish in my book, right? Because 8 in the 20 is still good. Like this should have bounced up. Said bad earnings, dropped this bad, right? So Again, am I saying that's what's going to happen? No, no, no. But I'm also saying if MVIS gets good earnings, right? If it does, it might do what Tilray did, give it a nice little gap up, followed by a nice double digit, followed by reasons to believe it's still going to go up, right? So MVIS, let me know any like big earning dates, because I got to believe that's around the corner. Everyone's dropping their numbers, right? So, and let's be honest, there's been a lot of really good earnings reports. So I guess in some ways that's a little bit reassuring, but you know, every company's different, right? So, hey, let me know your thoughts and opinions as always. Otherwise, thank you.